Hello, I'm Richard Murphy, and I want to talk about something which I don't normally touch upon in this series of videos, and that is a political issue. I look at political economy, of course, but not normally straightforward politics. But the events of the last few days have been too important, and I think need to be touched upon in a video. On Saturday, we saw the most extraordinary scenes on the streets of South London, near where I lived for several years, on Clapham Common. And on Clapham Common, a perfectly peaceful vigil being held by women who felt frightened by the fact that a single woman walking on her own on those streets around that common had been murdered, wanted to hold a vigil in her memory. It's entirely reasonable. This is a natural human feeling. I know we have COVID, I know there are problems, but let's be clear, as journalists reported, on Saturday afternoon, Borough Market, not far away, was crammed with people out shopping, perfectly legally, absolutely packed. And nobody took any action to stop those people assembling in pursuit of their motive of simply buying, well, whatever they wished in that market. And yet the police deemed this vigil to be unacceptable, even though it was clear it was going to be peaceful and self-policed if only they'd let that happen. We saw the consequence. The police intervened. If they were trying to do so to maintain COVID order, they clearly failed. They actually got up close and personal with people who they could have infected, who could have infected them. They became violent. We saw that. We saw them pulling, pushing, shoving, knocking over women wholly unnecessarily. And I'm shocked by that. I was completely shocked. I actually meant to watch Peterloo, the film of Peterloo, which was going to be broadcast by Channel 4 on Saturday night. And instead, here, 200 years after Peterloo, there was a live riot created by our police force, and only created by our police force, acting inappropriately against a peaceful crowd, live on British television. So, something went horribly wrong. But what's also gone wrong is the fact that the government thinks that it has the right to stop these protests. Many people will be aware that before Parliament there is a new bill, a police bill, which is designed to prevent the right of people to peacefully protest. It's targeted at Extinction Rebellion and Black Lives Matter, both of which deeply upset the government. And it extends provisions which have existed since 1986, since when the police have had the power to regulate demonstrations in ways that are wholly unnecessary. The police can now dictate when a demonstration can start and stop, how many people can attend, even though, of course, the organisers will never be able to control that. They can say what the maximum noise that can be generated by a demonstration might be, even though, again, there is no chance of anybody being able to control that. And they can define as an offence the fact that somebody annoys another person as a consequence of that demonstration. The mere act of annoying someone, who could of course be a police officer, and we saw police officers being annoyed on Saturday night, can lead to a charge that could result in 10 years in prison. Every single assembly in the UK will be covered by this regulation, potentially. Everything from the school nativity play onwards could actually be subject to police regulation if the police wanted to intervene. Now, of course, most of the time they won't. You know that, and I know that. But the fact is that the police will have the power to intervene when they wish. And when they wish will be on those occasions when genuine political dissent on issues of genuine political concern will be raised by people with genuine motive to ensure that action that is required on behalf of society that they sincerely believe to be appropriate will be promoted. And the police will decide, because the police have a habit of doing so, that those people promoting that are antisocial, will be contrary to the best interests of society as they see it, and will therefore crack down. Now, unsurprisingly, the right wing are not making a fuss about this, because oddly, it is very rare that the police raise objection to any action which appears to be condoned by the right wing. On the other hand, the left wing suffers police criticism, police hostility, and police aggression far too often. I wish it wasn't the case, but it is. And so, this law will be used to prevent the type of protest which has been fundamental to the creation of change in our society over centuries. The Peterloo riots did, of course, eventually lead to the 1832 Reform Act, which began to deliver parliamentary democracy in this country. The suffragettes would, of course, have been banned under this action. Those who fought for trade union rights would have been banned under this action. Most trade union action and picketing will, of course, be impossible as a consequence of this action without police consent. You name it, whatever it is that is required there to be protest to deliver reform, and that has been true of most things of significance in our society, that will now be banned. And this to me is unacceptable. I'm being told that by being annoying, I'm committing an offence. Let me promise you, I am annoying. Let me promise you something else. I have every intention of carrying on being annoying. And let me promise you that if that lands me in court, well, so be it at some time in the future. Because the only way our society is going to survive the stresses that are coming our way as we try to become a sustainable society is by protest demanding that reform happen. And that reform will not just be about carbon, although that will be important. It will be about the whole processes of governance that recognise that community is at the core of what we need to change if we are to work together, hence in community, to achieve that goal. The selfishness, the isolation, the whole approach that is implicit in this act is that an individual may declare another annoying and so have the right to have them prosecuted. And yet society requires that we work together, even if some people are aggravated as a consequence. This is a deeply dangerous piece of legislation. It is contrary to the best interests of literally everyone in this society, whether they appreciate it or not. Because the right to protest is fundamental to democracy. It is fundamental to a functioning society. It is fundamental to holding a government to account. It is fundamental, therefore, to good governance. And it is fundamental, therefore, to actually achieving those things that we as a society wish for. If we're going to abandon those, and that's what this bill would require us to do, then we are in deep trouble. I hope that you will join me in opposing this bill, because it is the end of the democracy that we have known in this country and the beginning of the police state in the UK. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in what I've been saying in this video, please subscribe. There is a button below the viewing screen. If you're interested in what I have to say on Twitter, I'm at Richard J. Murphy on that medium. If you want to look at my blog, that's taxresearch.org.uk, and we have a Facebook page as well, Richard J. Murphy. So one of those things will get you more information on what this video series is about, and I hope I'll see you again soon.